You didn't find your purpose. You were assigned one, not because someone cares what you want, but because a person without purpose is unpredictable. And unpredictability doesn't scale. Purpose isn't given to make your life meaningful. It's given to make your behavior stable. The moment you accepted a goal you didn't design, you became easier to schedule, easier to motivate, easier to exhaust, without ever having to force you. This is not a story about meaning. This is a story about control without violence. And once you see how purpose is installed, you'll understand why losing it feels like death, and why the system panics when you start questioning it. This video does not claim to reveal hidden truths. It does not accuse individuals, organizations, or institutions. And it does not offer guidance, advice, or solutions. What follows is a structural observation, a way of looking at how modern systems use concepts like purpose, meaning, and direction to reduce uncertainty, coordinate behavior, and maintain continuity. This is a subjective interpretation. You are not required to agree with it. You are free to reject it, question it, or ignore it entirely. No one is being judged. Nothing is being prescribed. We are not discussing what you should do with your life. We are observing how the idea of purpose functions once it enters a system. A person without purpose is not empty. They are unaligned. They don't move in predictable patterns. They don't respond to the same incentives. They hesitate where systems expect momentum. For a system, that's not freedom, that's noise. Purpose solves that problem. It gives direction without supervision. It creates motivation without enforcement. It turns uncertainty into a manageable flow, not because the purpose is correct, but because it produces movement. Any direction is preferable to none at all. Systems don't fear people who resist. They fear people who pause and ask why they're moving at all, because hesitation spreads faster than rebellion. Purpose rarely arrives as an order. It's introduced as an option, a suggestion, a pathway, a responsible choice. You encounter it early through education, career tracks, social approval, quiet comparisons. Certain goals are praised, others are tolerated, most are never presented. Over time, the available choices start to feel like the only ones, not because alternatives disappeared, but because they stopped being visible. That's how installation works. No force, no announcement, just repetition until direction feels personal. The most effective systems don't tell you what to want. They make sure you never seriously imagine wanting anything else. At some point, purpose stops being something you pursue. It becomes something you are. Introductions change. Conversations shift. Your value starts being described in terms of direction. You're no longer just a person. You're a role with momentum. And once purpose fuses with identity, questioning it feels dangerous. Not because the system punishes doubt, but because doubt threatens coherence. If you remove the goal, what remains becomes unclear. So the system doesn't need to silence you. You silence yourself to preserve continuity. This is why people defend goals that no longer serve them. Losing purpose feels less like change and more like disappearance. A stable purpose creates predictable behavior. Predictable behavior creates efficiency. When people move toward predefined goals, systems don't need to intervene. They don't need constant supervision. They don't need force. Purpose externalizes control. You regulate yourself. You correct your own deviations. You justify sacrifices as necessary steps toward meaning. From the system's perspective, this is optimal. A motivated individual costs less to manage than a free one. The system doesn't care what your purpose is. only that it keeps you moving in a direction that doesn't require correction. When purpose collapses, the system doesn't see a person in pain. It sees a disruption. Movement slows, motivation fractures, timelines lose reliability. This is why losing purpose feels catastrophic, not because life ends, but because alignment breaks. Without direction, behavior becomes inconsistent, and inconsistency forces attention. The system responds quickly, not to help you recover meaning, but to restore momentum. Any purpose will do, as long as motion resumes. This is why systems rush to replace lost purpose with another one, not to save you, but to silence the gap where questioning begins. Purpose is not a personal discovery. It's a structural solution to unpredictability. It organizes time. It stabilizes behavior. It reduces friction. That doesn't make it evil. It makes it efficient. But once you see purpose as something installed rather than found, you understand why questioning it feels so dangerous. Not to the system, to the identity that was built around it. A person without purpose is not lost. They are unassigned. And unassigned elements make systems nervous. This channel looks at structures, not intentions, at systems, not individual choices. In this universe, there's another division that looks at the same reality from the human side: emotion, doubt, contradiction. That's Punchline Protocol. The link is in the description. If you stay here, we'll keep examining how systems work. If you go there, you'll see what they do to people inside them. Interpretation remains yours.